let's get into it. I found this sample too I really like. Let me play it for you guys real quick. Let me know too if all the audio and everything, the mic's good for all you guys too. But yeah, so here's the sample. Got a lot to work with. We're gonna chop it up too, so it'll be good. It's a fun one. Cool. Before we start chopping it though, I'm just gonna lay down a simple drum beat because I feel like if you start chopping samples and then try to layer drums over it, it's just like your sample is just trying to chase the drums. It's just nice to have just a basis to chop on top of first instead of just like going crazy trying to fix the drums after. We could always change stuff after. So I'm just gonna lay down a basic beat really quick. Just a classic boom bap beat. So just something really simple so we could just get some ideas going really quick. For the hat, I always use simpler just because I like to play them in so I get just like a more human groove. But also, you could easily just play different notes instead of just keeping one stagnant same sample. So let's just get something quick. Because if your hats are just all the same pitch too, it's just pretty boring, honestly. So yeah, let's just add something. Yeah, I'm just gonna work with that for now. So someone say you have another music project? Yeah, I'm Smokestacks too. Alright, so Command U too. Just a quick quantize on it. Shortcut. I'm sure you guys probably know that, but so yeah, with the different pitches, it's just a lot more fun. But yeah, I'm gonna change it a little bit more. Just keep it interesting. Usually I wouldn't quantize it, but sometimes it takes some time to adjust everything. I don't want to spend time trying to get it perfect for you guys. You could also just hit this humanize right here. It'll kind of change everything a little. Also, I'm going to adjust all the velocities. Like I was saying before, if you have the same pitch, it's stagnant. But also, if you have the same velocity, it kind of just sounds robotic. So if you think like a live drummer, obviously they're never going to be playing every note exactly the same velocity. And that's what we want to get it to sound like, someone actually playing it. So now we got a simple, nothing crazy, but it's a little interesting. Cool. So now we got something to work with. I'm also just going to add an open hat really quick, just so we have kind of more of a groove. I would suggest too, if you have drums you like, instead of just like searching for samples forever in your user library, just create a group of samples, like your go-to ones, instead of just every time just trying to find something new. If you have drums that work, like just keep using them. I like the tail on this hat, but we don't want to do that every time, so I'm just gonna cut it over there. Cool. Alright. I'm just gonna duplicate this a few times. So let's just hear we got the drums. Okay. So again, if you came in a little late, found this sample the other day. It's a nice one to chop up, I think. So I really like to do my chops in Serato's sample. I slept on it for a while, honestly, because I was like, I would do them manually or just put them into my 404 and chop it up. But if you have a good sample that's like a nice waveform where you can just easily pick up the grid, like if you see here, it gridded, it's super nice, tells you the key. You could change the key if you want super easily. You could also change not just the key of the entire sample, but of individual chops if you want. Over here, you could get stems out. So you could isolate stuff like vocal, piano, guitar, drums. It's super nice. It's just really easy. So I usually set the slicer. If you like, you could manually do it, but this one's gonna do it nice. So I'm gonna do 2 bars. Cool. And I got it connected to my 404 right now, but you could literally just play it on your keyboard, on your computer, any MIDI controller it's gonna pick up. I'm just so used to the 404 pads. So I got it on there. Here, let me tilt this, see if you guys can see it a little. Might not be the best view, but so I got it chopped onto the 404. Now, I'm just gonna randomly play something. Here, let me just put an EQ on this. Just gonna cut the lows a little bit. Do like around 100 or something. Okay. So I'm just gonna record a random pattern in and then we're gonna go from there. Alright, cool. We got something to work with. So it just comes up right in your piano roll too, which is super nice. And let's quantize this quick. Again, Command U is just a quick quantize. If anyone doesn't know, it'll just save you some time. And you want to make sure all your chops don't blend into each other and that they end on the grid. So they end a little early, like how this one is. You're going to get an abrupt stop, like right before the other one comes in, which I mean, honestly, sometimes is pretty cool, but if you want it to be smooth, I wouldn't do that. So this is the tedious part. I'm sure all you guys know about this. Cool. So it's nice to have in the piano roll too. Instead of if you just like chopped audio, which obviously you could do for samples, it's just then it's kind of annoying when you're like trying to piece everything back together. Like right now, it's if I was like, oh, I don't really love that, I could just. So let's hear it again. Cool. So let's hear it with the drums really quick. I don't love that part. I'm just gonna duplicate the beginning to save time. I like the first section. Cool. Now we got something to work with. Now once you have the sample in, since you already got the basic drum pattern down, we can spice it up a little bit now that we got something in. Cool. I also like to just add some ghost kicks. So we're gonna take the same kick, but drop it down a bunch, maybe like. So the main one's at -3. Let's bring this to like -9, maybe even lower. So it's just like a ghost kick too. I just mean obviously how it's like quiet, so it's subtle. Kind of just helps with the swing, the quick accent into the other one. Just like little subtle stuff like that. Really just like help the beat move. And it's alright right now, but it could be a lot more interesting, the drums. Here, so let's group the drums really quick. Okay. Let's solo them. Oh shit, it actually recorded that pattern. That's annoying here. So let's just. Sorry about that. I had that record enabled too, but it's alright. We could just roll with it. We'll just do that. We'll duplicate this, keep it simple. Okay, so it's interesting, but I would like to have more swing and groove to it. So what I like to do usually is layer like some percussion, find like a nice percussion loop. Let's see what this one was. It's a little quiet, hopefully you could hear it. But it's just some nice percussion rims. So by itself. Got a nice swing. So when we layer it, let's just do the drum group. So that's pretty cool. It's got a nice groove. So if you have everything on the grid too, it's gonna get super boring, your beat, honestly. I would suggest having stuff purposely off. If you like that type of groove, obviously it's not for everybody. But like I was saying earlier, to just make it sound like someone's actually playing it instead of like some boring humanized drums. So I duplicated this layer, and I like to add a layer of it with frequency shifter, so like we could get an even more interesting groove and just get some weird textures. So if you have shifter on, here, let me add a utility just so you could see what I'm doing better with it. Cool, now you can see it more. So we're gonna play with define. So it's gonna mess with the pitch of it. So and then we're also gonna play with the course. So now we just get some cool weird textures with that. Let's also throw an auto pen on it, just for some ear candy. So now the drums with both of those will be a lot more interesting. And the first one, we're just gonna halftime the first one. Got a nice swing, and that way when the second part of it comes in, it's just different and more interesting. Cool, now we got something nice. So let's hear those together. So to hear just that subtle bit is such a difference in the beat. Cool. So it's pretty cool too, so far. The sample could definitely use something else. So the sample's in C minor, and I know that this vocal choir is also. Let's hear it by itself. So that's pretty nice. It's gonna layer nice with that. So let's drop it down a little. I really just want the beginning, so let's see what it sounds like if we just loop that beginning part. That's cool. Let's extend that, and we'll probably do it like that for the second section. So cool, those work nice. And then again, Just for more variation, keep it interesting. Let's try to reverse that last one. And then I'm going to duplicate this whole pattern. Chop that end off. Yeah, so let's duplicate this whole pattern. And then for the second part, I'm going to have how those chops were at first, the quicker ones. I would suggest like every 8 bars, 4 bars, however you like to do it, have something switch up. Just like it keeps it more interesting, more ear candy. Like I get super bored listening to stuff, honestly. Probably because of ADD, but like I'm sure a lot of people are on the same shit. All right, so let's hear how those go. Cool, so now we got something. So let's make a quick intro too. So this was the main sample, not chopped. So bring this over. We'll just do a quick little 4-bar intro. So we're gonna tease the main sample in the beginning. We're just gonna like hard EQ it. Nothing too crazy, but just so it doesn't give all the elements away that we're showing in the chops too, and just using that as the, we'll blend it in nice. Let's do. I feel like the drums still need a little something else too. So I'm just gonna add in some tom hits. Let's see where we want to put them. Cool, I like that. We're just gonna duplicate that. Nothing crazy. I'm going pretty simple on all the drums right now, just because I don't want to spend like a lot of time on that. Another fun plugin too, if you want to add some artifacts, this sketch cassette, I really like. It's like $30. It's definitely worth it. It's just a cassette emulator. I don't want anything crazy, so I'm gonna do the clean and subtle setting. I know people who make beats like this usually love the hiss. I'm a big hiss hater, honestly. So I'm gonna turn the hiss all the way down. Let's turn the wow up a little bit. So now it's a lot grainier and just like more vintage sounding. Nothing crazy, but so without it, with it just add some artifacts, honestly, that I like. You could throw that on the chops too, but I like them clean. Since we have the sample in the piano, let's just play with it a little bit for the second section, keep it more interesting. This is why I love Serato's sample. Just makes it super easy to just add variation. So it's pretty similar, it's just a little different, keep it more interesting. So I definitely like it. I still think it needs a little bit more. The sample's nice, honestly. It could carry it, like if you put vocals on it, it'd be really nice, honestly, just as is, so there's not too much going on. But for the sake of to keep layering and just like having fun with it, I'm gonna keep going with it. So all these samples I have in here, I know are in C minor. I haven't really played around with them yet, but they're in the same key, so we'll just play with them together and see what we could come up with. So this stab is pretty cool. So I'm just gonna start throwing it in. And as this comes in, we don't want too much going on, honestly. Just because you don't want stuff like clashing together and just sounding super busy. So I'm just going to auto filter the vocal down just a little bit as that comes in. Let's duplicate that for now. Actually, let's try. This is a really cool trick. I learned it from some EEPROM tutorial a while ago. He was doing it on vocals. But here, hold on. Let me move the camera for a second so you can see this. Cool. Okay, so we're on complex mode right now. So if you switch this to texture, stretch it out a little bit. So in this grain set, so let's hear it right now. Already pretty cool, honestly. But if we pull this grain size up, it's gonna be repeating. So it's just like a fun trick to just like get some really interesting stuff you really like wouldn't think of and just like super quick instead of throwing a bunch of samples on and like trying to come up with something. Honestly, I'm a big fan of like doing stuff like that and just randomization to just get like some crazy ideas you would never think of. Cool, so that's pretty nice. Let's duplicate those. Let's just put like a little bit of echo on it. Okay, now let's hear that. just gonna keep throwing stuff on it and playing with it, honestly. See what we could come up with. I found this the other day too. Been waiting to like do something with it. I feel like it would work for this. It's kind of similar to, I mean, not really, but same kind of vibe. So I just like that one pluck. This part. So we're gonna grab that. I think it'll be a nice accent. Oh yeah, I like this one leads into that one nice. It's kind of like introducing it, but with a new sample. So it's like the little accent just makes it a lot more interesting too. Just like little accents in your music, honestly. It's like subtle, but it really creates such a different listening experience. Here, let me bring my camera back down though too. We're just gonna repeat that. Alright, cool. So let's listen to the whole thing that we got so far. Just throw a little bit of delay on that pluck too. I really like the ping pong delay, I'm sure. If anyone's been using Ableton for a bit, you've been playing with that. Just like the older versions. Cool. So I like this so far. I just don't love how it goes into the second section right now. So we're just gonna add just a transitional effect like this scratch maybe. So I'm gonna do the same thing I did on that synth, the texture mode. So
once you get on the wrong path,
that's the scratch as it is, which is pretty cool too. But again, this texture mode, you can really get crazy stuff. So now we just got like a cool repeating effect on there. I'm gonna also put a little bit of echo on that just because it kind of cuts out abruptly. If anyone has any questions too, like anything I'm going over, if you need to know like anything, I know I'm going like kind of quick. I'm just like going as if I was making a beat, just what I would do. Just let me know if you like have any questions on anything. Cool. So that's pretty cool. And let's bring that scratch also in the beginning. Just do it as is, just the normal one. Keep the interesting one for later.
once you get on the wrong path.
And on the intro, just to get it a little smoother, I'm gonna throw a reverb tail on it. You could just do this with Ableton's reverb. I made a rack to just make it easy. So I have the throw here. It's nothing too crazy like going on in it. If anyone wants the ADG for the rack, just like shoot me a message on Instagram and I'll send it to you. It's really just like easy to make reverb throws with. Subtle, but just like little stuff like that, just like will help with transitions and just like overall just make everything more cohesive together.
Once again, I'm the Boombap.
Right there too, I was just taking some of the snares out just to let the sample and the vocal just breathe a little more. It's just that snare over and over again. It just gets pretty boring. Just like subtle changes like that. Cool. So let's start making a second section really quick. Let's move this over. So I'm just gonna duplicate what we have right now. Normally, honestly, I would like to switch up the drums and shit, but we don't have that much time right now. So we're just gonna rock the same drums with a different part of the sample. Okay, cool. And for the second section, I usually like to start my chops at a different section of the song. Because if we just do the same chops, it gets pretty repetitive. You start in the same section, even if you alter it, it's just going to be pretty repetitive too. So last time we started over here. I'm going to go over to the middle section. Cool. We're just going to randomly play something in to see if we could come up with something pretty good. Once you chop more too, and if like the sample, honestly, I would suggest just doing it random. You could obviously it's nice to test and like know what you're gonna do. But I just find like doing the random chops, I could just like come up with something I wouldn't think of. And then obviously you could always just alter it. So it's not like you're stuck with these chops once you do it. You could always just go back and change whatever you want. So let's try something. So I like that. Got pretty lucky on that one because I think I'm going to keep all of it. I actually like that one. So again, we're just going to make sure all our tails are not keep going. Since they're auto sample, it's going to try to loop that same sample into the next one. And like sometimes they'll blend really weird together and you get some artifacts in the beat you don't really want. Cool. All right, cool. I like that. And then we're going to add another second section, a B section to the second section. So I like to like go back. So we got a new sample chops for right here. I'm gonna do new ones for this B section of it, but I kind of want to go back to the a similar vibe to we had on the first one, like reintroduce it, some different variations, but using the same chops. Cool. So that time, I'm sure you probably heard I did a lot more chops. I'm a big fan of Jay Dilla with the micro chops, which is just like, more quick chops. Obviously, he would have went a lot crazier than that. But it's just going to keep it more interesting for that B section, too, just having a lot more going on. Yeah. Sorry about this part. I know it's not fun to watch, but we've all been there editing the piano roll. Cool. All right, we got that. So for this section too, even though the chops are different, definitely want to add some more variation. Thinking like a horn or something, probably. Let's see what we have. Let's try this horn. I feel like we could pull something out of there. Let's see. What about this? Maybe something like. So we don't want it going into that synth. We just want it to accompany the vocal, really. Let's try to reverse it for this section. Maybe just like. I'm going to take that reverb tail too that we threw on the intro for the horn. Since we reversed it, kind of just like cuts out abrupt. So let's get a tail on there. So it kind of reverbs out a little bit. Yeah, it's a lot nicer. Here, fuck it, let's throw it on here too. Tail's kind of abrupt, so it's pretty good. Let's go over to, and then I feel like we could have some fun with this. So I was doing texture mode before. Also, the tones you could get some crazy stuff out of. I found this actually my boy Churgum I was collabing with. He had some stuff warped in tones, like some bass patches we made, and he was getting some crazy sounds. So I got it on tones now. We're gonna pull the grain size up and we're gonna stretch it. That's cool, super spacey. See if it works. Just for this section is cool. Just that little tail. Let's extend that. Also, if you pull that grain size all the way down, you get some cool stuff. There's also the flux you can mess with too, which will also add some crazy artifacts. Cool. We got something pretty fun now. Oh, let's actually try to. Got like 10 more minutes left, so let's just like keep throwing some stuff on and see what we come up at the end. So that initial vocal we have the choir is cool, but let's reintroduce another one. Not reintroduce, introduce another one to accompany that. So as I'm fading this one in, I would suggest fading out the other one, just so they're not clashing together. If you have too much going on in a beat, it's just like everything's gonna be, all the frequencies are gonna be clashing, trying to compete with each other. Definitely don't want that. Fun reverb trick too I found recently. If you throw OTT, so here, let's hear this. Throw OTT on, nothing like too crazy on this vocal. And then put the reverb after. It's actually really nice, even with the Abelton reverb, which isn't the best. I'm trying to use mostly Ableton stuff right now, just so everyone has it. If you're using the reverb too, I'm sure everyone knows this, but definitely change the density to high. So that's with the OTT before. It's kind of subtle, but it's so much more full with the OTT before it. Let's have it actually come here. Do a quick reverse one here. Oh, that's pretty nice. So the first one, the chop comes in quick. This one fades into it kind of nicely to accompany it. Cool. I think this should probably work. So let's hear how all those sound together. super good together. Yeah, so honestly, I would suggest just throwing a bunch of samples, are in the same key, just in a folder, and just play around with it. Like I didn't use these ones yet. I just randomly threw them, and they just happen to accompany each other super nice. Luckily, it did it pretty quick, but if everything's in key, you could really like with the fades and just taking stuff out, adding room, you could really kind of just like go wherever you want with it. Let's add one more just fun layer in the drums. Actually, it was a drum, but it doesn't really sound like it, so I'm not gonna put it there. But where was the? Yeah, this thing. So that was just some perks. I just put a bunch of corpus and chorus on, and it got super like weird and grainy. Kind of some weird art, but I feel like we could just tease that in a little bit. Let's pitch it up 12 octaves. Yeah. So you just got a nice little stutter to add onto it. So I did the same thing there, texture, pulled the grain all the way up, and I brought it up 12. So obviously you could tell I really like playing with the texture. But like I was saying, you'll just get some crazy stuff that you would like never really think of. Okay, we only got like 6 minutes left. But we kind of got like a full song. Obviously I would go back and mess with it. Just for the sake of it. Gotta put the bird sample in the beginning. No lo-fi type chill beat is complete without it. Alright, so let's listen to what we have right now. Thanks again to everyone kicking in the chat. Big up Synthesis for letting me do this too. It was my first time doing something like this. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah, so let's hear what we got. Part's a little busy right now, but pretty cool. Jeff, I don't have any more workshops planned right now, but I would definitely love to do some more. Hopefully, it will be. I'll probably start doing more streams, honestly, on Twitch and stuff because it's been a lot of fun too. But let's just do quick too. So that second vocal that we came in, let's tease it a little in the build leading up to the second drop. And if you go into the envelope, hit the pitch, you could kind of make a scratch effect with the transpose. We'll go up 12 and then down 12. So that last section will be. Just a nice transition. If you do it quick and like more abrupt, you could like really get some like crazy stuff with it. I do that a lot too on drums and shit. If you have a drum roll, pitch that down. Honestly, on hats too, it's super nice. If I had more time, I would have definitely went in and did that on all the hats. But it's about to be 8-2, so big ups everyone kicking it. Thanks again to Synthesis.